So now let's get started with Unit 4, which is called No Gain Without Pain. And exercise 1 is discuss these questions. The first question is, how are you going to turn your dreams into reality? The second question is, what ambitions have you fulfilled so far? Third question is, how do you feel about leaving your comfort zone? And finally, what do you think is the best way to make a contribution to society? So the first question is how you're going to turn your dreams into reality. Sorry. My perspective consider that there's much to do in order to make one's dreams come true. So what I would do is to take daily actions, no matter how small they might seem. I would focus on my goal. Of course, that goal, I would keep it realistic as much as I can, and not paying attention to the people who say to me that my dream or my goal is impossible, or not very easy to do, or to make it true. Regarding the second question, rather than ambitions, I think that in my case, I would call them aspirations. I have some aspirations, a lot, and the one I can think of right now is having passed the exam to get into college, since it's not a quite easy task to do. In regards to the third question, personally, I don't enjoy living this atmosphere of feeling safe, my comfort zone, at ease, or with stress, without stress. At the beginning, it's a bit difficult for me to do so because I need some time to adapt to the new environment I am dealing with. So at that stage of adaptation, to me, is extremely challenging and a bit stressful. However, I'm 100% sure that I'm able to succeed on that. And in regards to the final question, what do you think is the best way to make a contribution to society? I think we can start contributing within our own home and people around us. I mean, supporting our family, siblings, parents, grandparents, being there for our friends. Those actions are worthy contributions to society. It's in that way they will see this kindness, these actions, and they will be encouraged to do the same thing with others. So that's what I think in regards to these 4 questions. And what do you think, guys?
I agree with you. And in my case, and the way in which I will make my dreams into reality is doing little steps day by day. I think that in order to be someone better in what you do professionally, personally, you need to have a good mental health, a good way of treating yourself, exercising, and doing things for you, so you can visualize that, and other people will see how are you making it. So if you are doing great with yourself, eventually the things will be great for you. The ambitions I have fulfilled so far is that I'm about to finish my career, and I'm so proud of that because it haven't been something easy to do. Getting into the university it was kind of hard because not many people have the abilities to be part of this degree and to stay. And how do I feel about leaving my comfort zone? It's something very hard, as I've lived in a small town. I'm very used to different traditions, to a different culture from what I faced when I was in the city. So leaving your comfort zone it's hard, but not impossible when you have dreams to fulfill. I think that the best way to make a contribution to society, as we are studying to be English teachers, I think that by being the best we can to teach the subject, we can contribute to society, as many other people studying different degrees or that are in different stages in their life are going to learn something meaningful. And I think education is the best way to shape society. So that's my point of view.
I totally agree with you, Bere and Uciel. What you mentioned, Uciel, about like doing little things to all to get to become true your dreams, it's something worth it and to mention because, for example, if you want to travel, since you start saving money from 1 peso to those 2 pesos, for example, it's something that we should take into account because we're doing it to for our dreams, right? And I think I would take that, as you said, because having like those little actions with us are going to help us to do what we want to do. And regarding the second questions, I think I have fulfilled some dreams because now, as Bede said, we're finishing the degree, and also I am writing a dissertation with her, which was like I didn't see that coming when we were in first semester. I didn't thought about it, and now that we have done it, it's like you turn your head and you see how much path you have been through and what you have to do in order to be here, right? So that's one that I would say. And also, I had the opportunity to travel this year, not so abroad, but to visit the Everett Mayan, which was something that I wanted to do, and I hope that I can do it next year too. And question number three, I don't like leaving my comfort zone because I tend to get weird, and it's like it's a weird feeling when I leave that. But once I do it, I think like no one and nothing can stop me. For example, I was scared that I was going to become a teacher, but now that I'm teaching at a school, I feel like more secure about what I'm doing and pretty sure that I want to do this. Which has to do with question number four. I think that we can contribute to society doing our job the best we can and doing it right. Because if we teach to people, they might like it or they might hate it. And we can encourage them to like it and to continue learning, to continue to be better at the language. And we can take like some teachers examples, right? So yes, that would be all for me.
Yeah, guys, I agree with what you have mentioned so far. For me, I'm going to turn my dreams into reality by having consistency, by having discipline, and by being patient. I think perseverance and consistency helps you get there where you want to get, and that's what I plan to do. In regards with my ambitions that have been fulfilled so far, I agree with you in the academic field. Well, just being about to finish the degree, having written most of the dissertations, um, that has been some challenges that have been fulfilled so far. And also, well, professionally, I have a stable job right now, doing exercise and getting the goals I want. So in many different categories, let's say I've been fulfilling some goals of mine, and that's what's on me. Um, so how do I feel about leaving my comfort zone? Of course, like anybody, I'm feeling afraid or anxious. That's not something easy to do. However, I think it's something we have to push ourselves into doing in order to, well, know ourselves better and in order to get to where we want to get. Um, and the best way I think we can contribute into society, I think it's being just kind. To me, it all comes down to being kind because I think positivity is contagious. So if you're kind to somebody, you are helping for everyone to be happy or everyone to be in a better way. Of course, education, of course, being ethical and all of that comes into this too. But I think it all narrows down to being kind. And well, that's my take on this. Thank you.
Thank you all for your contributions. And now let's go to the second exercise, which is exercise 2. Discuss and comment the questions. Number 1 is how important it is to you. Is it to you to have the latest mobile phone, laptop, TV, etc.? Will designers ever stop updating these gadgets? Number 2, what are the 2 best and worst inventions of the 21st century so far? And number 3, what do you think these sayings mean? And do you agree or not? There's nothing new under the sun, and necessity is the mother of invention. Okay, so number 1, how important is it to you to have the latest mobile phone, laptop, TV, etc.? To me, in my case, it is quite important at least to have the upgrade on my laptop in regards to software rather than hardware, in order to continue doing my daily stuff such as school, any other kind of document such as Word files and PowerPoint files. I really rely on Microsoft, as you can see. So if I don't have those operates, it will be difficult to me to continue doing my daily stuff, especially in an educational environment. And will designers ever stop updating these gadgets? I don't really think so. That because designers are always operating even the hardware of their devices, and of course the software. Of course, it depends on what kind of gadget you have. If you have an Android, maybe the life of that gadget is less that you would see in Mac devices. But yeah, even if it's a small upgrade, it's an upgrade, so or an update. So I don't think that designers would ever stop updating such gadgets. In regards to second question, what are the 2 best and worst inventions of the 21st century so far? That's an interesting question. The 2 best to me, first is internet, because actually we are taking this video conference online because of the pandemic. Otherwise, without internet, wouldn't be possible. Another great invention is smartphones. They are very practical. You can even do the task that you would do in your laptop. You can do it on your smartphone without problem. And sometimes it works even better than laptops. And in regards to the worst inventions, the one I can think of right now is this thing that was very famous not very long time ago, which was a belt which used to, well, what the main function is to vibrate in order to improve your abs, your abdominals, And I don't think that that's a good invention, because you're not doing exercise, you're not working out this part of your body, just letting this ab belt vibrate, but you're not putting in practice those muscles. And another invention that it's not a very nice one and not very useful, I would say that, well, in my experience, I bought a toothpaste dispenser which wasn't work at all. It's supposed to save toothpaste, but it didn't work. We got rid of it. So it wasn't very effective. So I'd say that those inventions are not very effective. And number three, okay, there's nothing new under the sun. I think that this saying means that there's nothing new on earth in regards to inventions. I would say that since people minds are so vast and history are so vast in regards to actions and inventions, this saying probably means that everything has been invented, and I don't really quite agree, because I think that times change and people change, necessities change. So yeah, I would say that people would surprise you. So I don't think that everything has been invented right now. And in regards to the second saying, which is necessity is the mother of invention, I do agree with that. And I think that necessity is a fact. It changes throughout history. And so yeah, I do agree with that. Necessity makes us think other stuff to be creative and take action in regards to our context. So that's what I think. What do you think, guys?
Well, in my case, I love to have like the latest mobile phone, laptop, phone and laptop, because they help me to ease the work I'm gonna do, as we are working on the internet most of the time. Well, it makes things easier. And will designers ever stop updating these gadgets? No, it's something that the industry has found to be working because they make money. So I don't think it's gonna stop. And I think that the two best inventions, I also agree with Luciel, which is the internet, because right now, due to the lockdown, we have find new ways to make education something better. And in regards of the words, I haven't really tried another things, but I would dare to say that there is a like shoes with some kind of umbrella, and I don't think this would be useful. So yes, that will be my two devices. Or in regards of the sayings, in the first one, there's nothing new under the sun. I believe that this has to do more with everything which is conceivable in the world, because it's constant remerging. So it's more about trends. And necessity is a mother of invention. Yes, I think that sometimes you don't have other options than creating something which will help you at the moment of the need. So that would be my comment. I don't know what you think, guys.
Yeah, I agree with most of what you have mentioned. Regarding the devices that are the latest, I think they're important. For me, they're not prioritarian, but I think they're important. Um, because of course, as you mentioned, they make life easier and they are more compatible with what's coming every year and every time. And in regards of that, I think that of course no, they will not stop updating everything that there already is, because as you mentioned, the industry has found a gold mine in there, so that will keep going on and on. The two best inventions, of course, smartphones are one of them. It's a good mention, Luciel. I think they are way helpful mostly these times. And I have to mention maybe the vaccine of COVID. To me, is one of the best inventions that happened really quickly. It's not really an invention, but its discovery, well, it's surely helpful since we are almost back to the way things were. Um, Regarding the worst inventions, I'm not quite sure. I don't think I've heard of many different things that are not helpful. But maybe there was this kind of recipient for food that was not made out of plastic, but it was made of something that wasn't working. I don't remember exactly what the material was, but it wasn't a really good invention. I have to say. And well, as for the sayings, I think that there's nothing new under the sun appeals to our creativity. Like meaning, well, with what we have is always the same thing. So now we have, I mean, whatever comes new or whatever is invented is with these old same things that we always have had. So I think that it's appealing to that. And the necessity is a matter of invention, of course. I mean, you cannot invent something that is not needed, or I don't think there's much things to be invented if they are not needed, right? I mean, necessity um, makes makes us look for new things to solve situations or to use for new situations. I don't know, but that's what I think.
Yes, I agree with Alan. I don't think I consider it important to have the latest mobile phone. I think that one that works for me, that's enough. But regarding the laptop, yes, I think especially nowadays that we're going through a pandemic, it is a necessity and we need it. So we need to keep our devices updated in order to have like our classes, in order to do our homework or the task that the teachers want us to do. I don't think that designers will ever stop updating these gadgets. As you have said, they know that this works, especially for those people who like having the latest mobile phone, the latest computer, or just because they are fancy, you know? What are the two best and worst inventions? I can think of any worst invention right now. I think that all the inventions are important. And well, now one good invention that we had is the vaccine. That's something that helped us to go through this pandemic, and also that is going to protect us when we go back to normal and when we have to see each other face to face. Um, about these sayings, I agree with the first one. I don't think there's nothing new under the sun. I think that people just keep updating the things that we have. And yes, regarding the second one, yes, necessity is a mother of invention, and that's how people they start inventing things, or they start being entrepreneurs or start business, which is something good. At the end of the day, they are going to help us to find new things or to innovate things that we have to keep to be updated with the things needed. Thank you.
Thank you guys for all your contributions. All right, guys, now let's start with exercise 3, part 1. And the instructions are: talk about something for about 2 minutes. Here are some factors which affect young people's ability to do well at sport, and a question for you to discuss. Talk about how these factors influence a young person's ability to excel at playing a sport. I choose to talk about the the factor says access to training. I think that factor is crucial when it comes to do to play at a sport or improve or excel at playing a sport, because if you don't have access to training, you wouldn't be able to do the other stuff such as with fácil, such as um, to develop your natural ability to do exercise. Basically, if you don't have access to doing this kind of sport, you won't be able to put in practice your abilities. So if you have this ability to do well at a sport, but you don't have this opportunity to do so, it would be a waste. So that's what I think in regards to this question and these factors. What do you think, guys?
Well, in my case, I think that the factors which may influence a young person's ability to excel at playing a sport, it will be natural ability, as some people are born or have the innate uh, facilities, well, not facilities, but the innate properties or personalities to be able to perform some kind of sports which are difficult for other people. I think that access to training will also enhance to be good at sports, as you learn from professionals. You have the right coaching, and I also think that the encouragement from family is also a key point, because no matter how good you are and how access to training you have, if your family doesn't help you, it may not you may not succeed. As part of the encouragement it's needed, and that's I what I think. I don't know about you guys.
Yes, I think that one factor that affects it's having good facilities. And nowadays, I think government is taking part to give facilities to younger people or to people in general to be more healthy and to do more exercise. However, as the pandemic come, I think they closed, which don't allow people to do what they want to do and to exercise a little bit. They have to do it at home, and it tend to be like quite boring to do so for some people, of course. Um, and also, I think that having access to training, it's also that something that stops people from getting or from excelling at sports, because they might not know how to do certain activities, or they might not know how to use perhaps a machine. And it also has to do with eating well. If we don't eat well, we're not gonna do enough just with exercise. If we go back to our house every day and eat a pizza, of course we can do it, but I think that it is better to do so having someone to tell you what you should eat and what you can eat. Um, I think that nowadays or currently, the government does not take part of this, but as they are as there are more like mm, illness, for example, diabetes, or those factors that are affecting us, as they have been raising now, the government has like take part, or they are trying to encourage people to eat better. But I think it also has to do with something that especially from money, because not all the people have access to healthy food. Yes.
Yeah, well, what I think is that natural ability doesn't really come to play much. Well, of course, you have to have this kind of sense for doing well at a sport, but it doesn't necessarily defines you as an uh, sports person, let's say. When it comes to access to training, of course, this is way too important. If they don't have neither how to say coach, neither have facilities to practice on, if they don't have the equipment, etc., well, they couldn't develop this ability that they have or these skills that they need. And in that regards, good facilities are way too important for this. They are essential because they allow these skills and all of these um, abilities that they need to develop properly and to develop well and healthy. And all of these, of course, needs the back of the encouragement of family, friends, and family. Because if you're not motivated, if you're not being supported, then the rest of the factors don't really matter much because you are not going to be invested in all of this. And well, of course, expectations, they are important since they let you know that people is expecting, well, something from you and that they know you're capable, and that's why they're expecting that from you. However, expectations should not be really high or way too demanding, because that will only have a negative impact on you um, as an athlete, right? That will only cause only pressure or things alike, and well, that factor we wouldn't like it. However, it is important having expectations on you, and that's what I think.
Right, guys. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And all of these factors, we need to take them into account in order to make this to make people to excel at playing any sport. So thank you for the contribution. And now let's go to part two of this same exercise, which is called, well, which says answer the following questions. Number one is, how easy do you think is to recognize talent in a child? Number two, what risks might there be if young people are pushed too hard to excel at something? Number three, should parents always have high expectations of their children? And finally, do you think schools should encourage competition among children? Regarding the first question, I don't think that it's very easy to recognize child's talent. You need to spend time with this kid. You need to monitor, spend time, and put attention to their abilities, and, and be aware of their weaknesses and strengths. But you need time to do so. If you don't have time, it won't be possible to recognize um, a child's talent. You need to yeah, to be aware of that. Number two, what risk might there be if young people are pushed too hard to excel at something? Especially when it comes to young people, it is not very easy to find this way of encouraging adolescents or teenage years or children. You need to be aware of how much this person is able to do. Um, to expect, it's good. It's a good thing to have some expectations, but you need to be very careful how much do you push a person, because otherwise this person will simply switch off and demotivate. Now, number three, should parents always have high expectations of their children? It's a very interesting question. I think that having expectations is not bad. Um, it's something that happens, but we need to not. It's related to number two. No, we need to push not too hard our children, and if they don't accomplish that expectation, um, not treat them bad, or not making them feel bad at not accomplishing that. So we need to encourage our children to be better, to take advantage of their abilities, but not make them feel bad because of your expectations. were not accomplished. And finally, number 4, do you think schools should encourage competition among children? In my case, I would say that competition does motivate the children and encourage them to do better. Uh, if they have this reward and this goal, this common goal, they would be encouraged to do the task. However, we need to take into account other factors, such as make this competition healthy and maintaining this competition exciting. Otherwise, children will demotivate or even feel bad with themselves, or feeling they will feel bored because we're not encouraging in the right way. So that's what I think in regards to these 4 questions. What do you think, guys?
Well, I think I disagree with you in the first one because I do think that it's easy to recognize a talent in a child because kids tend to be or tend to say to you or show you what they do. So it's kind of easier to see that in a kid because as you are working with them, you can see easily who is the one which thinks faster or gives you more creative ideas. Or, for example, in the sport, you can see how he or she is performing. And there is that might be there if young people are pushed too hard to excel at something. I do agree in that with you because they were switch off and also they're also be demotivated to continue because you are pushing too hard on them. And we need to consider that beyond their abilities to perform at some task or sports or whatever they are doing, their mental health does matter, and it matters a lot because if you don't have a good mental health, you cannot do anything. I also think that parents, I think this question is controversial because sometimes if we don't keep any expectations on our kids, they may think that we don't wait anything for them and that we don't believe in them. And on the other hand, if we have high expectation about them, we as parents, we may have these some like some battles with them because we are expecting them to give to them to give us a 10, and when they give us a 7, we may be hard on them, which is not also good for them. And I do think that schools should encourage competition among children. However, this should be done in a healthy way, and teachers should bear in mind how it is going to be done, because having extrinsic motivation in our students will enhance them to be more creative, to come up with better strategies, techniques. But sometimes kids do take it like personally, so they may harm others, or they may even hurt themselves on thinking too bad if they don't win a prize, if we have a prize, or if they don't get the points they need to got. So I think we should keep a balance on what we are doing, how we are doing it, so we don't have those bad repercussions on them later in the future. So I don't know what my other peers would say about this.
I agree with some comments of what you said. I don't, well, for example, in the first one, how is it? Do you think it's to recognize talent in a child? I don't think it's easy because we have to like put it in different activities so they know what they like and what they are good at. And if there is something that they don't like, well, we should not like put pressure on them or to um I don't know, like wanting them to do something that they don't want or they don't like, because even though if they are talented at that, they don't like it, and it is just going to be like harsh from them to do the activities and also um well to accomplish the tasks that are set, right? regarding the question number 2, I think there are more risks if we put high expectations on the children, since it's like a lot of pressure from them, um, to want them to read like our expectations, and if they don't achieve them, if they don't do what we want, or if they don't accomplish what we want, then they might feel like they are a failure, or that they are not going right at certain things, which might be frustrating for them. So I think that we should keep a balance between um, putting our expectations, because that's also like something that they should not accomplish because we are saying so, right? And I think it has like more repercussions than we think. um In question number 4, do you think schools should encourage competition among children? Yes, I think they should, but to do it in a healthy way, in a safe manner, because as they are children, they tend to be so competitive and wanting to win in order to show and that they are able to do certain activities, or that we teachers show that we are proud of them, but we can show them that we are proud without being so competitive. I think it's okay to do it, but it is also okay to do activities that have not anything to do with competition.
Yeah, I agree with what you have said in most. I don't think it is way too easy to recognize talent in a child personally, or it is really difficult to really observe it because as Michelle mentioned earlier, you should be really observant of this. Regarding the risks that there might be, is that they really get to hate it. They won't put their heart into it because they just won't be loving the experience. They're just going to be feeling pushed and demanded. So I don't think it is good to put too much pressure on them. I do think the parents should always have high expectations, but way not too high to, of course, put pressure on the children. High expectations to let them know that they think they're capable of achieving great things, but not too high to, well, again, make them feel that they have to fit in a certain box or something like that. Um, I do think that schools should encourage competition among children because these, of course, um, this uh, makes them get more invested. They get more motivated. They try harder. They find it more fun. It's not just about being good or better, but it also um, enhances many different types of skills apart from the sportive ones, but social ones. So that's what I think regarding these questions. Thank you.
All right, guys. So we finished Unit 4, and thank you all for sharing your thoughts. Thanks a lot.
Right. Now we're going to move on to exercise 1 in unit 5. We're going to work in pairs and we're going to look at these pictures. We're going to discuss them using the expressions below or in the box. Right. So first, I can see a man. I can't be completely sure what he's photographing, but I think he is photographing animals because we can see the background and I can see some trees. However, it can be also a park. So perhaps he is photographing a couple that is going to get married, or maybe children because their parents pay him to do so. In regards to the picture number 2, one possible explanation might be that they are at a match. They are watching a match and they are so excited because their team has just won or because they have just lost or lost the match, right? Mm, I suppose they could maybe wear something else to show their support to that team. But yes, those are my thoughts. What about you, Alan?
Yeah, well, in regards of the two pictures, what do they have in common? I will I will have to mention that they're both, I mean, the people in both pictures are wearing like jackets or sweaters in a way. That's something they have in common. I suppose it's because of the weather in both pictures, so that's maybe something they have in common. That the weather in there is a little bit cold or humid. I don't know. In what ways are they different from one another? Well, I don't know why the guy is taking photos. I can be completely sure, but I guess that he might be taking pictures of birds or something like that, not necessarily people, because he kind of have that face, or he looks like he could be interested in that. And well, of course, they're different because they well they the guy is alone, or I suppose he is. In the other picture, they're well in a group. They're in a union somehow. I mean, they're together. That's what I mean. And in if there is anything difficult to identify, I maybe would say that the picture with the people in red, it's difficult to identify what sport they might be cheering up for, what team, or what is exactly that they're doing. Of course, they're cheering up, maybe, but not totally sure what they're cheering for. And one possible explanation might be, as you mentioned, a match in some sort of sports. And this is just a guess, but the guy in green, he might be, well, just having a hobby. And that's what I think.
Okay, thank you, Alan. Now we're going to discuss Unit 6, Exercise 1, and it says, work in pairs and discuss which of the quotes about history you agree with. Explain. The first one says that the extension between the past, present, and future is a stubbornly persistent illusion. Albert Einstein. The second one says, we learn from history that we never learn anything from history. And the third one, happy people have no history. Well, I think I agree with the second one and the third one because even though we have seen so many things that the history has left us, we never learn because there are some aspects that people continue to do till now, which is quite worrying because that means that we are not storing what we have been through, right? And it is sometimes like quite of annoying because we can see it with protest or with people that are protesting when it comes to, I don't know, the riots or whatever, because they think, or some people think that it is not a good way to claim some rights, which I disagree with, because if we go back and look at our history, we can see that we're not we're doing the same as it was before. And regarding the second one, happy people have no history. Um, I think yes, or I agree, because those people like don't have knowledge of what have happened in the past, and they are happy with that. Because if they knew, I think they wouldn't be so happy knowing that some people died or some um herds of properties were stolen in the case of Mexico, as we know, in the part of Texas and other areas that were stolen from us. And sometimes I think that makes me a little bit angry. And I think I would be happy not knowing that. What about you, Alan?
Yeah, I totally agree with what you just mentioned. I think that Jesus. I think that that those two that you chose are the ones that I would choose. I mean, as you mentioned, we learn from history that we never learn anything from history. We're constantly reminded that um, someone who doesn't know their history is doomed to repeat it. That I think that's the saying too, and that is true. I mean, if we are not really paying attention to our history, we're really going to get into the same troubles that we have been already into. So only the historians will know that and will constantly be telling us that we will learn anything from that. And yes, of course, ignorance is bliss. It's another saying that goes along very well with happy people have no history, as you mentioned. Those who ignore their history in their past, they will can be happy because they don't know what has become, I mean, what has come before them. So they can be happy for not knowing where they are standing on and why they are standing on at that time being. So definitely, as I mentioned, ignorance is bliss, and well, happy people that knows nothing about history are proof of that. That's what I think.
Thank you, Alan. This would be all for this discussion.
Okay, guys, so now we're going to begin with Unit 6, which is living with the past. For this exercise, you have to look at the images. Which two of the buildings should be saved for prosperity? Put them in order of importance and say why the two you have chosen have the greatest historical significance. So I would say, for me, the order, I think the last one, the last image is a museum. I think this should be saved for prosperity as it has history. We should keep it and inviting people to go there so they will know more about the history of the place in which this is located. And as well, it can be some money that we can get from the visitors. And the other one would be the industry. I think the first image is about that. So I think this will help the society who lives nearby that, because it helps people to have jobs, and it makes them to have a salary to live. That will be the two ones I would choose, and to have the greatest historical significance. I don't know what you think, guys.
For me, the ones that I see have more historical significance would be the third image, like the one that looks like a school or thing, I guess, the one that has bingo and yes in there, and also the gas station. I think those ones are really good for us to save because yes, it talks about what people used to do, where they were there, or some activities that maybe had to do with fun or maybe just for work or what the people work at. I think the first one I would put the gas station, and then the one that looks like a school, right? Because also schools like have great significance when it comes to to historical backgrounds. And yes, those might be my selection.
Yeah, personally, I think that the one that looks like a factory, I think it should be safe. I think it's historically significant because it by being a factory, of course, it talks about how the economy was moved. So it reminds of a certain era in which not just the economy, but of course the social dynamics were different. And I think it is a pretty big space that could be used for a different things. It could become a school, it could become a museum, it could become so many different things. Um, so that will be one of the ones I would save. And of course, the last picture, the one that looks like either a house or a school, I think it has certain artsy of a certain era or something like that. So to me, that looks like something should be uh, preserved, and I think it's important to keep it there to remind us of how was this aesthetic of that time. And I think that it will be the second in my like rating, but I think it should be preserved because of that reason. That's what I think.
Right. Yeah. I do agree with you guys. I would choose the last picture, which seems to be an old house or even a school. But to me, it seems more like an old house. Perhaps this house was built by an important architecture, or and it was um, well, a famous person could have lived in this building, and because of that, I think that there's much things to save, to preserve, especially because of what may be inside this building. Perhaps it reflects the way this person used to live. Um, Maybe there's furniture and other things that were important to this person. And another building that I would choose to preserve because of this historical significance, that would be the bingo one, which looks to be a cinema rather than a school. Yeah, I'm very interested in when it comes to movies, to movies history, and I'm sure that this building would reflect history that has gone through throughout the years in regards to movie aspects. So that's the two I would choose, and to me the most important will be the bingo one, and then the other building, the house. So that's what I think.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Right now, we are going to move to exercise 3. You can see 3 pictures using different people using different types of memory aids. You have to compare 2 of them and say what kind of information these things can help people remember and how effective they may be. What sort of memory aid do you think is the most useful for students and why? In my case, I would say that keeping notes, it's really helpful as you can use some words or some phrases so you can help your memory to remember what you have read, what you need to explain to other people. I also think that writing it down in a journal as a sort of story, as a poem, or as something which may facilitate you to remember some, for example, theoretical framework, theoretical idea, or some kind of hard things. You can write them on a notebook and also make some kind of graphic organizers So these are the ones that I think help or are most useful to students, because instead of having like a bunch of papers, you reduce them in some kind of notes or some phrases so you can remember them easily. I don't know what you think, guys.
Well, I personally think that the ones I would compare is the one with the girl taking a diary and one in the phone. Personally, I use both of them in a way. I think they, of course, serve different purposes. The diary, it can help people remember what they have lived, what they have felt throughout the day, throughout a season, throughout a moment. Maybe it's like to keep this memory for yourself. Um, and I think that's the best purpose you can give a diary to, so they are effective in that sense. And the cell phone and the little notes in there, well, I use them sometimes at school because that's really fast to me to take notes. um, but I also make my supermarket list in there, like things I need to buy or things I need to remember, or maybe links to sites that I have to check on later or things like that. That's what I use them for, and I think that's what are they intended for too. And I think maybe that's one of the most helpful to students because, as I mentioned, they are quick, they're effective. So it is just a copy and pasting in there. And well, the diaries or the journals or the notebooks in general for classes and notes, they take a little bit longer when you have to write on them. So on the cell phone or the electronic devices is a little bit more quick and effective in that sense. That's why I think for students it's more helpful.
All
Yes,
right. Sorry, man. Go ahead.
yeah, sorry. Yes, I agree with you guys regarding the first picture where we see this girl using post-it and taking notes. I think those are very useful for students in order to make quick notes or in order to emphasize something that is really important or something that the teacher mentioned, such as homework or dates to deliver or to hand in a specific task or a specific project. Um, Also, they are good to keep like good notes. I mean, you can decorate the post-it in order to make it more visual attractive. Regarding the third picture, where we see the font with some notes, I think yes, it is very useful when you don't have anything to write on at hand. So that's one special source. For example, I have a chat with me, only with me, where I send myself notes that something that I need to deliver or some things that I need to do when I don't have like post-its or a notebook or anything to write on. And also the where in the chat I also keep like phone contacts or people that said something really important, or just maybe to send myself like websites that I want to visit. Yeah, I agree. So what do you think, Luciel?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree with you guys, and I think I'll choose the first picture, which seems to be a sticky note on the wall, and the third picture, which is a notebook and a cell phone. In regards to the first picture, I'd say that it is very helpful to have this tool, especially because it helps you remind things. I've seen people using them to remind some important data, some important information. You can travel. You can travel with your notes anywhere, and you could remember a prompt. And so yeah, that's the main advantage I can see. and the main function. And regarding the third picture, I honestly use it in my daily life. It's more practical to me, because I'm on my cell phone, my mobile cell phone is with me all the time. Even I put notes. I have downloaded a calendar as well, and a diary. And to me, it works very, very, very well. And regards to the question, what sort of memory aid do you think is most useful for a student? That's a very tricky one. To me, both are very quite useful. The first, because this memory factor, you can memorize things using these sticky notes. But in regards to organizing things, to me, it's more important the other one, to be more organized, because I need to improve that, and it helps me a lot to have this diary on my, or these notes on my cell phone. So that's what I think.
Thank you guys for sharing your ideas and giving support to your arguments. Now we're going to move on to Unit 7, the hard sell. For this exercise, we are going to discuss the following questions. 1. Do you think scent marketing should be more strictly controlled? Do you have any favorite smells? What do they remind you of? And thirdly, would you choose the scent of cinnamon, lavender, or vanilla to cheer you up if you were feeling lonely, make you up if you were feeling drowsy, or help you get to sleep? In my case, I think that the scent marketing should be more strictly controlled. Well, I don't know much about this industry, but I think that it does, because sometimes there are like small marketings which sells you alcohol just with a bit of scent, which is not really good for the body and the persons who are wearing it. According to some skincare professionals, you should wear as much as natural things as you can. So in order to control your skin. Do I have any favorite smells? What do they remind you of? Yes, I do love berry and everything that it's concerned with the red fruit, because the smell of strawberry, berries, and it's really sweet for me, and it gives me a sense of peacefulness. So the third one says that, would you choose the scent of cinnamon, lavender, or vanilla to cheer you up if you were feeling lonely? Yes, I would choose lavender, because it's a really peaceful smell, a scent. So yes, I would choose it. And if I have to wake up feeling drowsy, I would also choose lavender. And in order for me to help you to get sleep, I would also prefer to have lavender. So I don't know, what would you choose, guys?
In regards to the first question, I do think that scent marketing should be more strictly controlled, especially because of the experiments that animals need to go through. And I don't think that suffering is necessary. We could avoid that. That would be great. And I'm really sure that there are other strategies in order to test these scents. In regards to the second question, I'm not a very fan of scents or perfumes or fragrance. I'm not really into that. However, I do like some smells. It's not a perfume per se, but it's the things you put in your house. This device, which you plug them into your house, and there are some smells such as cinnamon, lavender, vanilla, and the like. And I like the smell of cinnamon. It makes me feel relaxed and reminds me of my childhood, because I used to, well, my grandmother used to drink tea, cinnamon tea, and that reminds me of that. In regards to the third question, mm, I would choose lavender to cheer someone up. If that person feels lonely, I think that that scent could work in these three points, either to cheer up or to wake you up or to help you sleep. And I personally use this lavender to, well, my sister used it to calm um, uh, her dog, and it works. It does. So yeah, that's what I think.
Okay. Well, I think I like you, Uzi, a little bit. I think also that the scent marketing should be more regulated, and mostly on regards of their testing on animals or uh, anything of that sort. I do have some favorite smells, but they are more of like the nature. Like I like it when it's about to rain and you can kind of have this smell of the wet dirt. I kind of like that smell. I like when the grass is being cut. I don't know why, but I do like that smell. What do they remind me of? Of freshness, and one of them reminds me of also of my memory childhood. I mean, memories from my childhood. Sorry, at my grandma's house. Regarding the choices for the three different situations, I think that for cheering someone up, I will either choose lavender or vanilla. Um, to wake up, I think I will definitely choose lavender. And to get some sleep, I will also actually use lavender. They say that lavender tea is helpful for sleeping, so I guess that the scent should be as helpful too. So that's what I think on this matter.
Right. I agree with you with all that you said about learn that marketing should be more controlled. I didn't know personally that some perfumes are tasted in animals, so that's something new now that I'm acknowledging. And regarding to my favorite smells, I do think I have some favorite smells. I like it when it's about to rain. Like you, Alan, just like my memories are quite different. I like it because those remind me of my of when I was in high school because I study in the afternoon and it was really cool to see when it was about to rain. Also because I was near the grass in my classroom and it was like a very cool and a very good smell for me. Also, I don't know what else, but even though I like it, it is not so good for me because it gives me allergies. But it's a guilty pleasure. Regarding the third question, I don't know what lavender smells like, so I would put that in to wake you up, or if I'm really drowsy, I don't know. Um, and also vanilla, I think I would use it to cheer me up or to cheer someone else up, or if they're feeling lonely, because the smell of the vanilla, it's really good. I like it very much. And well, cinnamon, I think I would use that to help me to sleep. Also because it reminds me of a song, Lana Del Rey. So I associate it with it or with her. Thank you.
It was so nice listening to all of your ideas and your thoughts. Now we're moving on to exercise 2. You need to look at a picture and then discuss the two following questions. The first one is, what is the picture trying to say about advertising and its effects? And second, what is the picture trying to say about advertising and its effects?
Shall we continue?
From the top, from the top.
Okay, you go, Bere.
Sigue grabando. Se desconecta esta onda.
Sí, vimos. Sigue.
In my point of view, I would say that this image shows what's currently happening in the world, as we can see advertisements in every place, and also in social media is something that is like, and nowadays, like it's something like we are used to it. And I think the effects that it has is that we buy things that usually we don't need, and we do it because it's popular, or that social media like has really good marketing strategies, so we end up buying them. I think that it's also bad for us because sometimes the minimum money we have or we get to have, we spend it on things that we don't need. And what I think about anti-advertising campaigns like this is that we should keep a balance on what we buy, because it depends more on us than the industries, because they are going to seek to make a lot of ads whenever they can, because it's part of their marketing strategy. They need to sell as much as they can. So I think we are the ones who really need to think if we want to buy this thing and if we really do need it. So that's my opinion about this. I would like to listen to you guys.
All right. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Bere, in what you've said in regards to the second, the both questions. Regards to the first question, I think that this picture tries to reflect the bad and negative effect that has these advertisements that are out there in regards to gadgets and any kind of products. And these industries really like promotes the buying things even if that's unnecessary. And these effects, I think that are quite negative in society. And that leads me to the second question. I do think that this way of um, this way of doing this anti-advertising um, in society, it's a good strategy. Could be a good way of opening people's eyes and making them aware that we don't really need that stuff, that things that these industries offer. And I think that's true, especially these people that are in the picture. It's what happens nowadays. But as you said, better, yeah, it depends on us more than these industries, because they don't oblige us. They don't make us buy those things. It's at the end of the day, is our choice to buy them. So that's my point of view.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. Well, what I think that picture is trying to say is that we're constantly, sorry, being exposed to all of these advertisements so much and so constantly that we end up falling for it. And as Betty mentioned, we are so used to it that we don't even notice now. Personally, I don't think that these advertising campaigns are very effective. I don't think they are. Maybe they put in your head the idea that you should question this, but I don't think they go further than that. As you both have mentioned, it's on us to try to work this out in order to not keep falling in the advertisement campaigns traps or advertisement um, institutionalized appearance in our lives. And that's what I think.
Yes, I think that your comments are very um, valid. But well, in my case, I think that yes, as all of you said, we are being exposed to all this advertising constantly, and also we can see our friends buying those stuff. And even though we don't need it, we want it. And a clear example is what happens with Apple. For example, with me, I don't need an iPhone, and I think that there are more cell phones that are useful or more cell phones that have more to offer in a and also in a cheaper way. But like all the time we are seeing that people have these phones and we want them because they are pretty or because they have like more stuff like the cameras, but that's it. Like we don't really need it. Besides, like we want only for their some functions that other phones don't have. Um, I think that the picture is giving and it's showing how we are living in the world right now regarding the stuff that we can buy or that we cannot. Yeah, as you said, it isn't us. But yes, I think that in some way or somehow they put pressure on us to buy those things even though we don't need it. But it's on us to decide whether to buy it or not. And I think that it makes us reflect about how we are spending our money or if we are doing it appropriately. um Also, if we need it or if we don't, we can save the money, right? So that would be my opinion.
Thank you, guys. Now we are going to move to the final exercise from this unit. We are going to look at some of the statements taken from a survey on attitudes to advertising. I would like to listen to your opinions. And in my case, in the first statement, it says, I like to look at most of the advertisement I am exposed to. Well, even though I don't want to watch them or see them, I get to see them because sometimes in social media you are like rolling and then you see them. And honestly, the people who are working in the marketing right now, with the technology they have, they really do make very good ads. So it's kind of impossible that you don't see them. I don't think that it insults my intelligence because it's up to you what you think about them. If you want to get them for the bad or for the good, it's your opinion. And I don't think I can trust advertising because sometimes the sources you see, it's not that reliable for you. So you must see who is posting it or who is like doing those ads, what industry, and you can trust on them or not. Products usually live up to the promises made in their advertisements. Well, I can say that few of the products they sell are like what they are describing in the ads, but not all of them. So I think in general, I like advertising. No se grabó esa parte, me congelé allí.
Eso no se grabó.
Boy. In general, I like advertising. Yes, I do, because as I was saying before, technology really do help the people who are in the marketing side. So when they sell you something, they really do it in a very creative way. So I think I like it. But that doesn't mean I buy everything I see. And I'm kind of trying to learn how to have this balance on what I need and what I just like to have. So that would be my opinion. I would like to listen to yours.
All right. Regarding the first point, the first statement, I like to look at most of the advertisements I'm supposed to. In my case, that's not true. I disagree because actually I have I downloaded an app on my cell phone and my laptop that removes this advertising. Especially, it annoys me to have to watch these advertisements in videos, like in platforms such as YouTube. There are like two or three um, advertisements in one video, and I don't really like that. So I disagree with that statement in my case. And second statement, most advertising insults my intelligence. I would say that not most of them, but some of them, yeah, I think that are not very um, smart. Even the product is not as effective as they promote. And there are some devices or products in the working out industry, and some products that makes you promise to improve your body, to make them look better. But if you look closely, that product doesn't work as they promised. So I think that some advertising insults my intelligence. And in regards to the third statement, in general, I feel I can trust advertising. I don't think so. I think that there's a lot of advertising that are clever, and I do think that the way they promote their products are very smart. But I don't think that I can trust this advertising. In regards to the fourth one, products usually live up to the promises made in their advertisements. I don't really think so. I think that some of them are true, but some of them are not. That's why in my case, I usually do, I search some reviews on the internet in order to see if that product works, because I don't really trust in those advertisements. And that's interesting because in these reviews show that some of them doesn't work at all, or not as they promised. So I would say that I don't really trust in that and in advertisements, in not all of them. And finally, the final one, in general, I like advertising. Um, no, I think I have answered that statement in the first statement, and I cannot stand advertising. That's why I try to avoid the uh, these notices or these advertisements as much as I can. So that's what I think.
Yeah, I agree with most of what you just mentioned, Uciel, because, well, I think, as I mentioned earlier, that we're too exposed to advertisements, so it gets to be tiring, it gets to be annoying. So I do enjoy some advertisement, the ones that are clever, or the ones that get to be like in your head, but I don't like being too exposed to it. I mean, as I mentioned, it gets to be annoying. I don't think that advertisement insults my intelligence. Not personally, as Better mentioned. That's, I mean, if you feel that way, that's okay. But personally, that's not my case. In general, I don't feel I can trust advertising either, because of course their work is to lure you into thinking that their product is good, despite anything. Like, it could be a major failure, but they are going to tell you otherwise. So I don't trust it. Their work is making you think it works. So of course I don't think that most of products don't live up to the promises they make, because they are they're pretending to do so. They're pretending to tell you that it works, but it maybe doesn't. And as you mentioned, Uciel, I do check on reviews of other people. I check on um, videos that show the product being used, so I can have a better informed idea of the product. So in general, I don't like advertising. It's annoying sometimes, but I can recognize when sometimes it is clever or creative, and that's what I think about this matter.
Okay, what I think, in statement number one, I like to look at most of the advertisements I'm exposed to. No, I don't like it. In fact, I hate it. It's so annoying when you have to look at the advertisements on YouTube every time you want to watch a video, or every time you want to, I don't know, maybe just to go through Facebook. It is annoying and it bothers me because I'm not gonna buy it. And when I have to answer the service that we are giving, I put that I don't think I'm gonna buy anything that I see, so that they somehow stop showing those advertisements, right? I don't think that advertisements insult my intelligence. I don't see why they should. Sometimes perhaps they try to sell you things that you're not gonna use, or they try to sell you in a silly way. But no, I don't think it insults my intelligence at all. Um, and yes. And the third one, I don't think I can trust advertising. I usually watch reviews, as Uciel mentioned before, because I like to see what other people think about the product, or if the product was what they were expecting, what are the features of that product, what I can take from that product, you know? Yes, so yes, I don't think I can trust that. Regarding products usually give up to the promises made in their advertisements. Sometimes they do. Sometimes the advertisement and the product are in relation, and they give me what I want and what I was promised, but not in all the cases. And lastly, I like at most, no, I like advertising. No, I answered it before. I don't like it. It is annoying and it bothers me to see advertising in any area that I am, even in the buses. So it's like quite annoying because they are pressing us to buy their stuff, and they tried they tried so hard that we ended up hating them. Yes, that would be my opinion.
Thank you guys for sharing your thoughts. That's it for the speaking part of this exam. So